I picked up my daughter from her dad's house, and something felt off right away. I couldn't explain it yet. It was just a heavy feeling in my chest, like something wasn't right. Everything had been normal before this. We had a routine that worked. He had her on weekends, and I had her during the week. There were no big issues between us. We had been together since we were teenagers. I got pregnant at 18 and everything changed overnight. But somehow we stepped up for our daughter. We made it work. When she was born, we found out she had Down syndrome. That changed our lives even more. We had to adjust quickly. We had to learn everything from scratch. We worked with doctors and therapists constantly. We followed every step to help her grow. It wasn't easy, but we stayed consistent, and she made progress. She is honestly the sweetest child, always smiling and reacting to little things. She loves music and movement. She lights up whenever she's comfortable. Her dad loved her too. I never doubted that for a second. Even after we broke up, he stayed involved. He was always there for her. We separated, but we stayed good co-parents. It wasn't perfect, but it worked. And most importantly, it worked for her. That's what mattered. A few months ago, he started dating someone new. Her name was Stella. She was only 19, and something about her didn't sit right with me. I couldn't fully explain why. She didn't seem dangerous at first, just immature and a little off, but my instincts didn't trust her. What bothered me more was how fast she was introduced. Kids like mine need stability. They don't adjust easily to change. Routine is everything for her. He told me not to worry. He said Stella wouldn't always be around. He said everything was under control. He reassured me again and again, so I let it go. I didn't want to create problems. I trusted him. And I convinced myself I was overthinking. My daughter seemed okay with her. That made it easier to ignore my concerns. I thought maybe it was just me. Maybe I was being too protective. Over time, Stella started being around more. Not just occasionally. Almost every weekend. And still, I didn't say anything. Looking back now, I regret that so much. Last week, I dropped my daughter off like usual. She was excited, smiling and making her little sounds. She was full of energy. She was even excited to see Stella. That gave me some peace. I thought everything was fine. I thought I had nothing to worry about, so I left. I went to work. I focused on getting ready for university. It was just a normal weekend for me. Nothing felt wrong at the time. Then Monday morning came. I went to pick her up like I always do, but the second I saw her, everything stopped. She was bald, not messy hair, not uneven, completely shaved. I just stood there staring at her. My brain couldn't process it. It didn't make sense at all. Her dad acted like it was normal. He said she got into scissors during crafts. He said she cut her own hair. Then he said Stella shaved the rest. He said it was so it would grow evenly. He said it casually, like it was nothing. Something about that felt wrong. It didn't sit right with me. But I didn't argue in that moment. I don't even know why. I just took her and walked to the car. I didn't want to make a scene there. I just wanted to leave. Normally, she's full of life. She reacts to everything around her. She makes sounds and moves constantly. But this time, she was completely quiet. She just sat there. No movement. No reaction, no sounds, just staring ahead. At first, I thought she might be tired. Maybe she had a long weekend. Maybe she was just off, but that feeling in my chest came back. Something was wrong. The drive felt longer than usual. I kept looking at her through the mirror, but she didn't react once. No eye contact. No movement. Nothing. That wasn't normal for her. We got to the doctor's office. I went to take her out of the car seat. And the second I touched her, she screamed. Not a normal cry. Not frustration. Something completely different. Her face turned red instantly. Her body tensed up. It looked like she was in pain. I froze for a second. Because I had never seen her like that before. I tried calming her down. I used the techniques from her therapy. I tried to guide her to communicate, but nothing worked. She kept reacting like something hurt. Like something was wrong. Eventually, I managed to get her inside. It wasn't easy. She kept resisting and crying. The doctor started examining her, and I could feel my heart racing. Something was definitely wrong. Then the doctor paused. That pause felt heavy. Like everything slowed down for a second, and then he showed me. There was a bruise on her side, a clear one, not small. Not something you ignore, and then something worse. There was a bite mark on her upper thigh, a human bite mark. I just froze. because none of this made sense. My daughter couldn't do this to herself. She couldn't shave her head like that. She couldn't bite herself like that. Someone did this, and in that moment, I realized something that made me feel sick. Someone had hurt my daughter. I couldn't think straight after that. My hands were shaking and my chest felt tight. Nothing about this made sense. I called my mom immediately. I didn't try to process it alone. I just needed help. She came with my dad right away. I could barely explain everything. But once they saw her, they understood. My dad got furious instantly. I had never seen him like that before. He grabbed my car keys and left. He drove straight to my ex's workplace. He didn't wait or think. He just went. Meanwhile, I stayed with my mom and my daughter. She was calmer now, but still not herself. She felt distant. It felt like something inside her had changed, like she wasn't fully there anymore. And I couldn't fix it. The doctor had already documented everything. The bruise, the bite mark, her reaction, that made it real. This wasn't just a feeling anymore, something had actually happened. And someone was responsible. My dad called after reaching there. He had already confronted my ex, and what he said confused me. He said my ex looked shocked, completely confused. Like he didn't understand anything. That didn't make sense to me. How could he not know? How could he miss something like this? He admitted she was acting strange, but he thought it was just a bad day. He didn't think it was serious. I didn't know what to believe anymore. Part of me wanted to trust him, but my gut kept going back to Stella. Something about her didn't feel right. It never did. And now it felt worse. We decided to have a proper conversation. All of us together, no avoiding anything. That night, we sat down as a family. My daughter was asleep in the other room, and everything felt heavy. My mom spoke first. She stayed calm but firm. She explained everything clearly. She said there was no way our daughter did this to herself. Someone had to be responsible. And we needed the truth. She laid out every possibility. Either he did it, Stella did it, or someone else was involved. But it had to be someone. There was silence for a moment. Nobody spoke. Then my ex broke down. He started crying right there, completely overwhelmed. I had never seen him like that before. He said it had to be Stella. He said he left her alone with our daughter. He thought it would be fine. He said he had to leave for work. He trusted her completely. That's what hurt the most. Hearing that made my stomach drop, because that's when everything became clear. He didn't see it happen, but he gave her the chance. He kept blaming himself, saying he failed as a father, saying he should have known better. It was hard to watch. But at the same time, I was angry, because this could have been avoided. He said he would confront her. He said he would end things. And he said he would press charges. My dad told him not to go. Told him to handle it over the phone, but he didn't listen. He said he needed to see her face. He needed answers. And then he left. The house felt quiet after that. No one really spoke. We were all just processing everything. I stayed close to my daughter. I didn't want to leave her side. I didn't trust anything anymore. A few hours later, he came back. He looked different. Calmer, but drained. He said she denied everything. Said we were lying. Said we were making it up. She accused him of trying to get back with me. She called me names. She tried to manipulate him, but he didn't stay. He walked away. He said he finally saw who she really was. He said he felt free, like everything clicked. That should have been the end of it, but it wasn't. That night, things got worse. We were sitting in the living room, trying to stay calm, trying to feel normal again. My daughter was watching something quietly. We were all just trying to breathe. Then his phone started going off. Message after message. It didn't stop. He couldn't even open them. The notifications just kept coming, one after another. Then the call started. Unknown number. Again and again. He didn't answer at first, but we all knew who it was. It had to be her. Then my phone started ringing too, something. Same number. That's when he picked up. It was her. I couldn't hear everything she said, but I could hear the tone, angry and unstable. He refused to repeat her words. That told me everything. It was bad. He hung up. We tried to ignore it. Then we heard something outside. A loud bang. Then another one. We froze. My dad went to check. He looked outside. And his face changed instantly. Someone was out there. Throwing things at the house. Eggs. Rocks. Anything they could grab. My heart started racing again. The calls kept coming. The messages didn't stop. Everything was escalating too fast. My dad told someone to call the police. My mom took my daughter into another room. She didn't want her to see this. I just stood there, shaking because this wasn't over. This was only getting worse. Everything felt like it was spiraling out of control. The noise outside kept getting louder. And none of us knew how far this would go. The police were already on their way. But those minutes felt way too long. It felt like anything could happen before they arrived. We stayed inside and didn't open the door. No one wanted to risk it. We just waited and listened. The banging eventually stopped. The calls slowed down. And after a few minutes, everything went quiet. Then the police arrived. They spoke to all of us separately. They asked questions about everything that had happened. From the injuries to the situation outside, they took everything seriously. Especially when they heard about my daughter. That changed the tone immediately. They had a specialist come speak to her. Someone trained to handle situations like this. They were careful and patient. It wasn't easy to watch, but it was necessary. We needed answers. We gave them everything we had. The doctor's report, what we saw, and what we suspected. Nothing was held back. They told us to stay together for now. To keep things stable for her, and to avoid any contact with Stella. We all agreed. At that point, nothing mattered more than her safety. The next few days were a blur. Everything moved fast, but also felt slow at the same time. We were just trying to keep things normal for her. She started therapy almost immediately. It wasn't optional. She needed support. At first, she was still very quiet, still distant. Still not herself, but slowly she started responding again. Small reactions at first, small signs of trust. That meant everything to me. My ex stayed with us during that time. He didn't go back to his place. None of us felt comfortable with that. He barely spoke at first. He just stayed close to her. Watching her, making sure she was okay. I could see it in his face. He blamed himself for everything, and honestly, part of me did too. But at the same time, I knew he didn't mean for this to happen. That didn't make it easier, but it made it complicated. A few days later, we got an update. She had been arrested. Apparently, she didn't stop after that night. She caused another scene somewhere else. That's how they caught her. When we heard that, it felt like everything paused for a second. Like we could finally breathe. Because she wasn't out there anymore. She couldn't come near us again. Charges were filed against her. Not just for the damage that night, but for what she did to my daughter. That part still feels unreal. The legal process started after that. There were statements, reports, and everything else. It's still ongoing. We don't know exactly how it will end yet. But at least something is happening. At least she's being held accountable. As for my daughter, she's still healing. She's not fully back to herself yet. But she's improving. Slowly, but surely. Every small step feels huge now. Every smile means more than it ever did before. We've all had to adjust. My ex is still struggling. He doesn't say much about it. But you can see it in everything he does. He stays close to her now. He doesn't take his eyes off her. Like he's trying to make up for what happened. And I don't know how to feel about that sometimes. Part of me wants to forgive him. Part of me already has. But part of me still feels angry. Because this could have been avoided. Because I trusted him. And because my daughter paid the price. We've changed how everything works now. There's no more unsupervised time. No more new people around her. No more risks. Everything is controlled. Everything is careful. Because we can't go through something like this again. We've also had to rebuild trust. Not just with each other, but as a family. That part is the hardest. Because trust doesn't come back instantly. It takes time. And we're still working on it. But one thing is clear, she is safe now. And that's all that matters. No matter how long it takes, no matter how hard it is, we will make sure nothing like this ever happens again. Because what happened that weekend changed everything.